Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Something Something Chat Show with Tom Jr. Jackson presents After the Movie Review, Holiday Edition number 4. Holiday Edition, folks. Today's movie is the classic 1987 film, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But first, please check out the Geek Singularity, where they have such shows as Midnight Musings every Friday night, midnight, no, hold on, every Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, on the Post Geek Singularity YouTube channel. It is hosted by Robert Meyer Burnett, director, editor, producer, editor, extraordinaire, YouTuber, and Leo Rockwell of the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, and RM, who also has a show on the Post Geek Singularity channel called Ladies of the PGS every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So check that out. Plus, she has her own channel called Positive Fandom, where she does unboxings, reviews, and a show Sunday morning brunch live every Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So check that out live with her co-host Russ Whitfield, as they both parlay all the pop culture that's fit to parlay into a show. So join them, shall you? Now, let's get on with our review. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We're at that time of the year where holiday films are starting to arrive and pop up on television, streaming channels, in stores. In that pantheon of holiday films, one film stands out the most. And that film is a Thanksgiving film. It's a regular watch every Thanksgiving. It is called John Hughes' Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And if you haven't seen it, the plot for this movie is very simple. You have a man trying to get home to his family for Thanksgiving, but stuck with the most annoying traveling companion, whether he likes it or not. That's all you need to know. And that there are some planes, trains, and automobiles involved. The film stars Steve Martin and John Candy, and for the past 35 years, this film has been a favorite of mine. And in my opinion, it is one of John Hughes' best and most powerful, with a simple plot that pulls you in at moment one. It is a great film that involves traveling by planes, trains, and yes, folks, automobiles. My goodness. What I like about this film is that you see two complete strangers who don't know each other. One tries to be a friend, the other one is completely annoyed by the other one. And throughout the film, they sort of come together in a way. And they figure out, well, if I'm going to have to travel home, I got to travel with this guy here, and it's an interesting movie. And it's a powerful movie too, and it's one of those films where if it's on, you got to watch it. It's just one of those films that you have to watch. It's a it's a good film, really, and it's funny, and there are cameos. I'll give up one. I won't tell you where. If you have not seen the movie yet, Kevin Bacon is in it. Kevin Bacon, who was in John Hughes' film. He said, she said. No, no, that wasn't the film. She's having a baby. That's the movie he was in. She's having a baby, which excuse me, which I believe John Candy and Dan Aykroyd appear in as well as the characters from The Great Outdoors. I could be wrong. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I should see that one again. Now, anyways, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was John Candy's favorite and is Steve Martin's favorite film of their own that they've made. Steve Martin was convinced to join the production after favoring two scenes from the script, and one was the seat adjustment scene, which is very, very funny, and the second is the F word tirade at the car retail desk, which, if you have not seen that scene, and who hasn't, it is brilliant. And I think it's said, the F word is said 17, maybe 19 times. And that 2 to 3 to 4 minute block of that scene. And it's a very, very funny scene. And it's one that you don't expect, but you do expect, because you see the anger in Steve Martin's character building up of what's going to happen next. You're in a plane, it gets diverted, and this happens. Okay, so now what's next? Okay, what's next? Okay, so then this happens. Okay, what happens next? This movie should have been called I Can't Wait to See What Happens Next. And I'm sure at one point it was probably called that. I'm sure that could have been called that. And John Hughes wrote the first draft of the script in 3 days. And back then his average writing times were 3 to 5 days for a script. But then again, he wrote the script for Breakfast Club in 2 days. So yeah, it varies with time, I guess. But it depends on excuse me, how much you want to get the script and how much is coming through your head of what you're thinking of and what inspires you to come out at the time. Steve Martin's house in the film was also a set that was built from scratch, consisting of 7 rooms, and took 5 months to build. It ended up costing $100,000, which angered Paramount executives, causing turmoil on the set. Now, the interesting thing about this house is that it looks exactly like the house from Home Alone, which was, I think, a few streets over or a town over, and looks exactly like this house. It's amazing. Many Many of the highway scenes were filmed on the then unopened stretch of US Highway 219, which runs between Buffalo and Springfield, New York. So it was unopened, so they could use it as the highway when traveling. Um, and who hasn't? Excuse me, who hasn't seen a movie where traveling on a road or on a highway like that, just the things that these two go through in this movie are hilarious. And it's like, who hasn't been there where your plane's delayed or you get a rental car and the car's not there? And it's a not a delay, but what's the word I'm looking for here? It is a pain in the butt trying to get back to where you live, trying to get home in time for that birthday, that holiday, you know, especially holidays, because Thanksgiving is the busiest time for travel every year, from what I hear. It's the worst day of travel. It's the day before Thanksgiving, and I think the day after. I could be wrong with that one. John Hughes originally wanted Tom Hanks for the Steve Martin role and John Travolta in the John Candy role. But because Tom Hanks was busy doing Big, the studio didn't want to have Travolta in the movie because at the time he was considered box office poison. Um, that would have been interesting to see Tom Hanks and John Travolta, especially John Travolta in that John Candy role. I think if they were gonna do that movie now, and I was thinking about this the other day, and so go with me on this one. If that movie is being remade today, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I would say Hugh Jackman in the Steve Martin role and Ryan Reynolds in the John Candy role. And the dynamic between those two, you've seen it in many of their videos where they go back and forth, or where Ryan drives Hugh crazy. It would work out fine that way. Then again, I would like to see them do the Odd Couple as well. I could see that where Hugh Jackman plays Oscar and Ryan Reynolds plays Felix, or it could be Jackman plays Felix, Reynolds plays Oscar. So either one of them, they could play either role. But I would like to see that. For some reason, I would like to see those two do a movie like that, or they can get older and do a remake of Grumpy Old Men together as well. That's something to think about. So John Goodman was at one point considered for the role of the John Candy character role, and Rick Moranis was considered for the role that Steve Martin had. Now, I think looking at it with who they cast, Steve Martin and John Candy, those two just brought something to that movie that I think anybody else that was in it, the dynamic would have changed, the story would have changed, the acting would have changed, and they probably would have brought their own spin on it. But these two just made it look so easy and so funny. I really like this movie, and it's the fact that it has an ending where you don't expect to happen, you know? Um, it's one of those films where you just watch it and it really flows. There are no slow moments. It just goes, goes, goes. Like from moment one, it starts out in the boardroom where Steve Martin works to him going, I'm getting on a plane by 6. I should be home by 8. That was the simple plan. Till his work partner tells him, you'll never make it to the plane on time. You'll never get a cab right now. Just wait, go at 8, be home by 10, and you would make it. And he's like, no, I promise to be home at this time. So it's about it's about this man who just wants to go home to his family, and it's like it's that feeling of what did I do to deserve this today? You know, everybody has those days where things just go wrong, and unfortunately, his was Thanksgiving. But it truly has classic, memorable scenes. It's very quotable, that movie. Um, I certainly enjoy it, and it makes me laugh. And I just watched it two 2 or 3 nights ago again, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and it made me laugh. And I'm so glad to have watched it because it's that time of year where you can watch it again and get that feeling of, oh yeah, Thanksgiving's coming, turkey and mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes and all those good things, and that warm feeling of getting up and watching the Thanksgiving Day parade and whatnot. And there are not many Thanksgiving films out there. I don't think. I mean, unless you want to count a Hallmark movie, which, eh, but it's a great Thanksgiving film. No, there's another Thanksgiving film. I just remembered. It's Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter and Robert Downey Jr. and Anne Bancroft and Charles Durning, and it's a fantastic cast. That's a great movie because it is directed by Jodie Foster, and it's a great film. I think it may have been the first film that she directed as well. So there are 2 Thanksgiving movies out there: Home for the Holidays and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But this has been Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, part of our After the Movie Review Holiday Edition, Episode 4. Thank you for watching. Join us soon because we got some great movies coming down the pike for the holidays. Some great holiday films coming our way, coming your way, I should say. But I want to thank you all for watching, and please be sure to um, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell up there. Check out my channel. While you're here, check out the stuff on the playlists on my channel here. Check out the channels down below for their great content, and let them know that you heard about their channels from me, and subscribe to them and whatnot. And I just want to say that for those of you who recommend movies to me, I would take your movies into consideration. I have a list of movies already, and some of those movies that I plan to that you give me recommendations for go on that list. But I have a list of things I want to do first before I can get to those. But I'm not ignoring you all. Those movies will get reviewed. There's one I've been recently working on that I was asked to do, and I've been writing down notes. I'm still trying to process the movie I watched and what exactly it is I watched. Not going to tell you which one it is, but it's an interesting one. But I want to thank you all for watching. And please remember, folks, we are all goof people. No one is perfect. We all make goofs in our lives. We all, we make a goof here and there, but we are all goof people. Thank you for watching and have a pleasant tomorrow. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.